Hello everyone, welcome to Lighthouse Stamping with Lorraine. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Vancouver, Washington. Thank you for joining me today. Before we get started, the housekeeping notes, all the dimensions and all the product I use will be listed below. There's a link to my online store if you wish to purchase any of these products. There's a link to our Facebook group. We'd love to have you join that. And finally, remember to like, share, and subscribe. Today I don't have a lot to show you. Oh, one more thing before I forget. There is a new starter kit special going on in the month of October. For $99, you get $155 worth of product. You'll get free business supplies, free shipping. So if you're interested in becoming a demonstrator, or if you just want to be a happy person who gets a discount, please email me and we can talk about it. We'd love to have you join our team. Okay, now I'm going to be making a Halloween card today. I have this card envisioned in my head. I haven't worked anything else out besides that. Grabbed a whole bunch of supplies I think I'll need, and we are going to build a card so you can just see my thought process. We're going to be building an Aperture card. And we're also going to be doing embossing in colors, a color, besides the normal golds and silvers, whites. We're going to do Gorgeous Grape. So let's get started. So I know first thing I decided I'm going to make the base of my card Granny Apple Green. Like I said, I haven't got anything cut. So you're going to see my whole thought process here. So I'm going to make a standard card base at 5.5. Oh, that corner's a little bad. We'll use the other one. By 4 1/4. And I almost grabbed the cutting blade and score at 4 1/4. So that's our card base. Now I know we're going to need a piece of white for the inside, and I'm thinking I'm going to be doing a back panel on this, so I'll probably need 2 pieces of white. So let's see if I have any card bases out here, or inserts that will work, that are the right size. I need 4 by 5 1/4. I do have a couple, so we have those. So let's see. Well, the first thing I need to do is I need to sort of lay out what I'm wanting to do. Let me bone this a good crease. What I like to do, especially with some of the objects are extremely large like this, but I don't necessarily always use the stamps. I sometimes use the dies for laying out, especially since I'm going to be cutting this out of the front of this card. So I want to lay this here and sort of figure out where I want it. Now I'm going to be stamping with this one above. I don't have a die for this. So I'm just sort of seeing how it lays out. And then I think I want to put verse on the front. Will this one fit up here? Like that, double trouble. This is what I do. I sort of lay out my pieces. Now, as I'm laying this one, I have to think about the other piece, because this is going to be an Aperture card. And it's going to be cut into so we see the inside. So I need to sort of lay this out and think about what I want to, how I want it to appear on this piece here. And the other thing I want to use is I want to use this lovely thing that's adding some goo to our pot. So if I put that there, I'm envisioning this piece of paper as well. And I'm going to need a bottle for my goo to come out of, which that can be, and we can move this over a little bit. This is how I sort of, when I'm trying to decide how I want to make something, and especially when you're cutting into the cardstock, I don't want to have to do it multiple times. So that will work pretty good right there. So we'll just set those over there because we know we're going to need them. And we'll set those off to the side for a few minutes, because the first thing we're going to do is cut our aperture. So I'm going to leave it right there. And I'm just going to grab some Post-it tape to hold it in place. That looks pretty good. just like that. And then I'm going to get my big cut and emboss machine out. This part you will need a cut and emboss machine to do. And plates. We need our base. 1, 2, 3. And we're only going to cut till we've gone over this piece. We're not going to run a whole piece of paper through. So we're just going to go part way. Making aperture cards are really easy as long as you make sure you've lined up where it's going on the second page. Okay. And our aperture is all cut out, so let me get this out of my way. I'll put this tape over here. Both kittens are in here with me, so I'm not leaving tape where they can get to it. They have a fascination with tape and paper. So we're not going to throw that away because we're going to use that. We'll set that off to the side. So this is the first part here. So the next part I thought, well, let's go ahead and build the kettle first here, and then we'll come back to that. So I want my kettle to be black. But we're going to use this piece too. So I need some black paper. Let's see if I have some scraps that are big enough. Because I want to cut out 2 of these. Just looking to make sure I have a couple scraps so I don't have to cut into a bigger piece. There we go. So I'm going to cut one out just in black, and then the other one we're going to emboss. So let's emboss that before we do any more die cutting. So I need a piece of, I just got some scrap paper here. And need a foam mat. Like I said, I know we're going to use this. I'm just going to pull it out now. I'm going to be using this. Actually, but we want our big kettle. We're going to emboss black on black. You could do clear on black, but I'm going to do black on black. And is that block big enough? Nope. Nice big block. And that's it for just a second. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my embossing buddy here. Give that a good scrub. And I am going to grab Versamark ink and some black. Is this one open? Yeah. I had to check. I have some open and some not. And I do not have the new WOW because I have like 3 bottles of each of the older ones, but I've used WOW before and WOW is very good. And I will get it eventually, but not at the moment. I'm going to emboss, stamp that. And yes, I should have had it on the mat, but it's going to be okay. I just want it so it looks a little distressed, I guess you might say. I know it seems silly embossing black on black, but it does work. It's okay. We're going to just emboss gorgeous grape on granny apple green. So I'm just going to set this off to the side because I know I'm going to be using some more black in a little bit. So let's heat emboss this. watch your ears. So, there's our beautiful cauldron. Nice. Oop, I missed a spot. Hang on. That's why I always hold it up to the light, too. To make sure. But you didn't miss something. Now we've got it. So we're going to die cut this. We're going to die cut another one in black. This is to make our aperture. Now that I'm done and I don't need the big die cutting machine, we'll just grab a little cranky here. Like 1, 2. Oh, and my die. Should be enough to hold that. Yep. Now crank that through. There's a lot of embossing on this card, I've decided. That's what my thoughts are anyhow. So we'll just stop and start as we go. And I got a little glue on there, and I'll show you what I'm going to do in a second. And then we'll just cut this one off. We don't need to have tape holding it, because there's nothing to make sure we stay inside of. And one plain black. And I'll put this over here for a moment. Out of the way. Whoa. Just one moment. That's interesting. Sorry, just dropped plates on the floor and I want to get them picked up for the cats. Decided to play with them. I don't know if you can see it, but right here I can feel there's just a little bit of glue from that Post-it. These are just little glue erasers. Believe it or not, I got these at, well, the $1.25 store. You can get them on Amazon. They have them all over. So what I'm going to do with these is I'm going to be putting this one on here and then this green one. Since my card base is green, I can use this one and put it right on the same thing. Now, if you were using, if you had cut the front out of red and the back side was, I want to say, doesn't matter. You can still use this one. I'm going to. I would suggest glue because it gives you, you don't want to use too much glue. You want enough to hold it because there's going to be pressure on people opening this. But you need to make sure that everything is lined up perfectly. So like I said, there will be pressure when there's opening the front of this. And some glue on this one. With our embossing. Sorry about the chimes if you hear them. It's a little breezy out today. So that is our piece that we're going to be using. So that's the first part. Okay. Next, we're going to come back to this. And we're going to be doing our embossing up here. So what I'm going to grab, I've just grabbed, it's just a piece of typing paper. You can use scrap paper, whatever you have. I'm going to put this in here, and this is to help so I don't get stuff on the bottom there. And I'm going to use my embossing. And this is how you can turn any color of ink into embossing. Excuse me, a little thirsty. So we need our white clear embossing powder. We need Versamark. We need our stamp with block. And this is the one with all the bubbles on it. And I'm going to be using Gorgeous Grape. Now, I pulled out, I haven't got it out of the package yet. This is, hang on, I'm grabbing it. Just one moment. Trying to grab it out of the bag here. This is the Highland Heather Glimmer paper. It's on the online. The potions, you wonder where that came from. That is in the online store too. I think that's going to be a big enough piece. We're going to be using this on the top of our cauldron. So if I used Highland Heather on this color, I think it would be too light to show up and go with this. That's why I'm going to go with the Gorgeous Grape, which is darker. So just sort of think about, you know, if you're going to use something else to go with it, you know, the darker colors. Sometimes you're stamping, I'm going to say this right. If you're stamping on a color that, like our Granny Apple Green, that is bright and cheery, tend to go to a darker shade if you can. Highland Heather might work just fine, but a darker shade I know will work. But I'm going to open this. I'm going to take my embossing die here. Give that a good embossing. I'm going to grab a mat. Got a scrap for my, just getting everything ready. So I'm going to first go into your Versamark. Do not get this step mixed up. Do not go into the purple. Hang on, do not go into the purple first. Go into the Versamark first. Then apply your purple. And I'm just going off, just barely off the edge of that. Get that nice firm press. I just went just off the edge. That's why I put the white paper in there. I'm going to cover this all up really fast. Then I'm going to grab another piece of paper. And I'm going to use clear embossing powder. I'll just put some clear. Make sure it's covered everything well. Get rid of this piece now. That looks good. I'm just setting that off to the side because I'm thinking I might use something else. I don't know yet. To be honest, I really don't. I just have a rough idea in my head of what I want to do. And I'm going to grab my heat gun again. And now we have purple coming out. So I'm thinking I want a verse on the front of this. But I'm not sure what one I want to use yet. But before we do that, this is the inside of our card. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to lay my inside of my card. I'm not gluing it in. I'm just going to lay it where it's supposed to go and close this. I'm going to grab a pencil and just make, not going all the way around, just a couple lines so that I know when I'm stamping on this piece where this piece is going to be. It's easier to stamp before you add this piece to that panel. So let's see. We know that's going to go there, and I know I want some goo coming out. I'm thinking we're going to do all this in Glimmer paper, possibly. No, there is a piece inside here. I did remember seeing this. This is to fill, like a fill line inside of this. The question is, what color should my bottle be? Gray? I don't want it black. Gray? I'm thinking gray. And this is the ooze that we can pour out the top. So we'll be cutting him out. Cut this one out of the Highland Heather. We'll cut the inside piece out of Highland Heather. And I'm thinking we're going to go ahead and do the verse on the front of this in black. So cut those out of, these pieces out of the Highland Heather. We're going to cut this one, I think, out of basic gray or smoky slate. I don't want too dark. Just one moment. That's not where I'm going to find gray. Smoky slate. See if I have a small piece of smoky slate. Of course I don't. Okay. So we're going to emboss there. We're also going to be embossing in here before we put, that's the other reason we needed that line. So why don't we, let's go ahead and do, no, not going to emboss that. I've decided. Or am I? Yep, we're going to emboss that too in the Gorgeous Grape. Like I said, I'm thinking as I go, so. So I'm going to grab the Versamark. I'm going to clean off. Now, I just did this in Gorgeous Grape, but it is imperative before you go back into your Versamark, you clean off the Gorgeous Grape off of your Or do we change the color? No, we're not going to change the color. I thought about it. So into the the Versamark, into the Gorgeous Grape. This will not hurt your Gorgeous Grape or any other color you use it in. I'm going to go just over the line. And I need to grab that clear embossing powder again. And I'm just going to set that aside for a second because I want to do some embossing in black, and I can do that at the same time. You can make your writing in the grape if you wanted, but I think I want to go with black. So on the inside, it's going to say a little hocus pocus. Or maybe a little hocus pocus should go out here. I think we'll put a little hocus pocus here. And we'll put over here, double toil and trouble on this one. There. I'm being very careful not to get my hands into that. So I need a couple blocks. And I'm just going to do this right now instead of waiting. So back to the Versamark. And I'll slide that up for a second, and I'm going to put that right about there. And then this one, I'm going to put right here. Now you can do two colors embossing at the same time, but you do need to be very careful, and hopefully I won't mess it up. So we already have loose embossing powder here. So I'm going to come in with my black very gently and only cover the section I need. Need to go a little bit further over this way. Like that. And I want a little bit more up here. You can do multiple colors at one time. You can do them singly, but if you're careful, you can. And then this one, there. Grab my cleaner here real quick. Okay. And my heat gun, got a little more heating to do. And the magic's happening. Okay. I got some black spots on there a little bit, but I don't really care. This is a Halloween card. So this is where this part's going to go in like this. And we'll line them all up in a minute. Now, let's do some die cutting of those pieces I talked about that I needed. I'm going to need this one, and this one, and this one. I think I can get them all out of that piece. I can. This piece we're going to do out of some, I decided to use Smoky Slate. I didn't want something really dark. I thought about basic gray, but I'm going to go just smaller. And no, I don't have a little piece, so. So, let's run these through. I know you're thinking there's no place to sign this. There will be. Okay, so we have our purple goo. And some more pooper glue. And this is the stuff going into the pot. And then we need a bottle. There's our bottle. There's that. Okay. Okie dokie. So, I know this needs to go like this. I'm just going to use a little glue. just like that. And I know this is going to come out this way, but I'm going to wait and position this once we get it on the card. This is going to go on the front. Now you do need to make sure that you're not over the top of this. Just right at the black, so it can't go over. Or your aperture will not open and close properly. There's our purple goo. Okay, so let's go ahead and put this piece in and put our aperture in. Just using some glue. This part you could use whatever adhesive of your choice. You do need to, after you've embossed paper, it does have a tendency to resist going flat. So you do need to help encourage it. Doesn't take long to encourage it. Now, you probably could leave theirs and you might not see them, but I don't want to take a chance that I will. So I just have, what's this called? A premium eraser. It's really good. Friend gave me this. Where the embossing is, I'm not going to worry about because we know that's going to cover that up. What's this? Mr. Pen Premium Eraser. She probably got it on YouTube. I don't know. I didn't buy it. Okay, so I'm going to close this. And what we're going to do is we're going to put this back in the hole. That's why I said it's imperative that it all line up. We're going to have to add something more up here. I think we're going to add some different kinds of gems. Purple gems. So if you pull that, you see how this is going to open and close like that. So I got it all lined up in there. And I'm going to open this up and I'm going to leave it in there. And push it down. Then I'm going to add my adhesive here. Don't go right up to the edge. You don't want it going over, but you do need to make sure you have all of this glued down really well because of the tension when it opens, because it will pull on the cover a little bit. And then what I'm going to do is just close this right on top and hold it for a minute. So you guys are going to have to let me know if you like these videos where I've just got the idea in my head and I haven't made a sample yet. And I just wing it. So I think it's sometimes good to see other people's thought processes when they're thinking about things. I looked at this and I decided I wanted to make an aperture out of it. And I wanted to do some embossing on it. And this is what I'm doing. But let me know as I take a drink. So now when we open this, it looks pretty plain, but when you open it, this is going to stay there. So when you look at it, then some people will say, well, why didn't you use dimensionals on this? When you're using an aperture is not meant to be raised real high, but if you use the dimensionals, sometimes it sticks on the edges. And you could go up one more. I find 3 really good, but you could go 4. If you go 4, it starts getting pretty bulky. So we got that and that. Now I'm thinking some gold. We might use some gold. Purple, things up here. And we'll figure that out in a minute. Back to the inside. We know the goo is here. And this goo is being poured into our pot. Now, I glued this down, but I have a second. I think I can push that under there. Yep, just a second. So I'm going to lift this up. So if you do this quick enough, your glue hasn't set right on this side here. I'm going to glue this down. And then I'm going to take a little glue on this. And you're saying, but the bottle's floating. I'm a witch, so you don't have to hold on to the bottle. It's my theory anyhow. If you're a witch, you don't have to. So that's that part. So here we see the bubbling and we see how it was mixed. Okay, now I know there's no place to sign on this card. There's going to be. Because there's a lot of things in this kit, in this set, I like to use. So let me grab, I want to clean off a few things here real quick. I know I'm not going to use this anymore, but I got gorgeous grape sitting over on the other side, and I'm afraid I'm going to put something in the middle of it. And I'm done with these verses. And I'm done with the block, or the kettle, cauldron, I should say. All right, now I want the inside. So I think I want it to say, Happy Halloween, of course. And I believe I want some books down here in the corner, like that. And I want a scary black kitty. That would be named Smoky. And that should leave me plenty of room to write. So, cat's going to be black. I think I'll use pencils to color that. What are we going to put on the front of the card? I think we'll just put the pile of books on the front of the card. Or we could put the crazy bird in black on the front of the card. Okay, so I'm just taking off some of these off their blocks so I can use them again. Instead of grabbing more out of the case. And what do I want to, trying to decide what color I want my Happy Halloween to be. Well, I want some orange in this, so I think I'll do it in pumpkin. I grabbed Granny Apple Green, Gorgeous Grape, and Pumpkin Pie ink and black before I sat down. And I think, because I want to put some of these colors into the books too. So we'll start with Happy Halloween up here at the top. And then we are going to grab some StazOn. And I'm going to do the books down in the corner. And then I'm going to grab our black cat. I better not say her name again. Now, when you're, Memento's a little different. When you're working on this, and the cat will be totally black. He's going to be white with a black outline. Unless I color him, which I haven't decided yet. And I'll make sure his feet are just touching the books. Which I probably will color him. Okay, let's grab an envelope. I think I have one here. And where's that crazy bird? I know I grabbed that crazy bird out. There, no, yeah, there he is. If you're ever wondering where I'm throwing my stamps, I throw them right on the case. Because unless you run something over it, the case will hold them all right there. And this is the bird. We'll put him on the front. I don't even think I'm going to color him. I might. I haven't decided. That's one thing when you're making cards. You don't have to decide at that very moment. I'm trying to decide if I want to color the cat or not. Well, I'm going to grab, I think I'm going to grab pencils. Brush. Oh, by the way, what I'm getting is I have a little tub. I keep all of my, this is my watercolor pencils, old and new, and my Wink of Stella. I have very small space, so I have to keep things organized. Okay. So I should have, there's pumpkin. I'm going to get that box back because all of my pins aren't in there. They opened up, so just a moment. There is basic black for the cat. I want some grape, granny apple. Sorry about that. There's my granny apple. I'm looking for my gorgeous grape. There's gorgeous grape. How many books are there? Oh, some are lighter, so let's grab some basic gray. There's basic gray there. I actually have a couple. Because I've been doing this long enough, I have a lot of older colors too. But that's okay. I keep them and I use them. Okay, and I did notice that my gorgeous grape is pretty dull. What I use, just if you're interested, this is just a cosmetic just a small cosmetic thing. These don't require a lot, and this is what I use actually because I do a lot of coloring with colored pencils besides these, and this is what I use on my colored pencils too. Nothing fancy. I'm not even sure what brand that one is. Maybe Clinique, who knows. But you can buy small ones. You don't need big fancy sharpeners to sharpen these up. So let's see here. Let's put, I am just scribbling in a little bit of purple in here. I'm going to put a little pumpkin down here. I'm going to do this one in the green. And I'm just going to use basic gray on this one. Nothing fancy. So you ever seen color watercoloring? This is a blender pen. I do need a scrap of paper, which I do have one around here. It was here a minute ago. What you want to do is make sure your pen is your blender pen. You've never seen one of these? I call it the magic pens. And don't rub real hard and don't go over too many times because you will cause the stuff to peel. Now I'm being careful because I did this in Memento, and technically when you're doing the watercoloring you should use StazOn, but I was not going to drag out the StazOn for this. Or you could color it with your markers. You could color it with pencils, regular craft, pencils, regular drawing and coloring pencils, blends, whatever you wanted. And where's my black? Ooh, what color eyes should he have? Orange eyes? Orange eyes. The cat has orange eyes. I'm going to color the eyes first. Now these I want to be left really dark, and so I'm not going to blend them. And then I'm going to go in here with my black. And this won't be a black cat. It'll be a sort of a charcoal colored kitty. And you notice I'm not coloring. I am just trying to stay inside the lines and laying down some color. But I want them dark enough, so I am laying it down quite a bit. And then back to my blender pen, make sure there's nothing on it. So he'll be sort of a chocolate colored kitty. Charcoal. Like I said, if you want him jet black, you could use your blends, or you could use crayons if you wanted. You could put the kids to work with these. I think this is a cute set for kids. And yes, I'm making this card, and I do have someone in mind that I'm going to give this card to. So that's my kitty. I should have moved the lights up so you could see them better. Now, when I'm done coloring with these, I usually make sure I've wiped them off. So that's the inside of our card. Do we color the bird or do we leave him alone? He's sort of cute just the way he is. But let's add some color to him. And he's going to have and his feathers down here are going to be purple. He's going to be a funky bird. We'll make his feet purple. We'll make the top of his head purple. And we will come in here with some green, some granny apple green. Like I said, he's a weird bird. And once again, I'm just going to come in here and I'm going to do purple first. Don't go from one color to another. So if you're going to do purple, do all the purple. And even press less on this than you did the cardstock because it is thinner paper. It's not cardstock. Make sure you don't have any purple on there. I'm going to go in here. Hit that green a little bit. And his beak a little bit. There he is. Just make him funky. Okay, so let's finish this card up. I know I've taken a long time. That is the one problem. This is going on the back of our card. This is the problem when you do cards where you haven't worked out the pattern before and you're thinking. They do take a little longer, but I knew it was going to be close to an hour. Should have told you to get a drink before you started. Oop, way too much glue there. Spread that glue out a little bit. So we're going to put this on here. So that's the back of our card. There's the inside where we're brewing our potions. Now we need something more on here. It's still too plain for me. I'm trying to decide what I want. I'm thinking just some bling scattered around will do it. So let me grab my bling box. Let's see what we can find. Well, no, these are mini catalog. No, nothing there I like. Ooh. Those drowsies. Those are the drowsies. Drusies. Those might work a little bit. We'll leave those out. I'm just pulling stuff out until I find what I want. Oh, those would definitely work. We could put some grays. Oh, we could just use some purple too. Like I said, I'm just pulling out a few things. I'm going to use a combination. Well, I'm thinking the grays now. Thinking some of these here and these. Let's see. I have to tell you something. I was making some thank you cards this last week, and I went to find my butterflies and my birds. And I knew I had sheets of butterflies and birds, you know, the brass ones. They have gone AWOL. I can't find them anywhere, so I have to reorder them. I was like, this is weird. So I'm thinking these are the glossy dots. And there's 3 sizes, so we'll use multiple sizes here. think I want to put a couple of these on here. I think these are really cool. That's 6. I like to use an odd number. And I think my odd number is going to be a large purple. These are the bubbles that have floated away from our card. So here's our little card. It says a little hocus pocus. And inside we're making up our brew. Heaven knows what that brew is. And on the back we have a place to sign with our little cat with the orange eyes. And then we have our multicolored bird. So let me know if you like this card. Let me know if you like me just sitting down and starting working, or if you like me having a prepared script, which this is sort of fun for me because you get to see how I work. I also want to take this opportunity. I know I've been off the air for the last 3 months. If you're on my Facebook group, you know why. I have experienced a lot of loss in my family recently, and I needed some time to regroup myself. So thank you for everybody who sent me cards and prayers. And I am going to start trying to be up on doing videos at least once a week for this short term. And as I'm doing better, I will be releasing more. So thank you very much, and I will see you next time. Have a wonderful day.